waiting, unidentified, and in control of the Crimean Parliament building in Simferopol. These are clearly professional soldiers.
The weekend begins. Gas prices have reached another record high. AAA and the Oil Price Information Service say the price of a gallon of regular rose more than the day weekend begins. Gas prices.
We are a nation built on the rule of law. And so we need to accept that this decision
Any movement in now? I want you to hit it. Out. Roger. We're taking fire from Revelation. Located within building 11213 on Broadway and Lincoln Company.
Operation to help avoid any action which might inflame events. But in Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, the military build-up continues, with armed men seizing 2 of the region's airports.
What does ISIS really want? What does ISIS really want? Hear this. You're right. The reality is the Islamic State is Islamic, very Islamic.
Russian warship blocking access to its port and military vehicles rumbling along its roads. Our international editor, Lindsay,
communicate with us things to come. Well, many people believe that an astronomical occurrence called 4 blood moons is a message from God. A blood moon is a full lunar eclipse, and 4 of them in a row is called a tetrad.
Came down to this southern town last summer to show the folks a brand new way of life. But all you've shown the folks around here is trouble, and you've only added misery to their strife. Your concern is not to help the people, and I'll say again, no, it's been often said. Your concern is just to bring discomfort, my friend, and your policy is just a little red. Now ain't I right?
Ain't you right? Ain't you right?
It matters not to you how people suffer, and should they, you consider that a gain. You bring a lot of trouble to the town and then you leave. That's part of your communistic game. I detect a little communism. I can see it in the things you do. Communism, socialism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two. Now ain't I right?
Ain't you right? Ain't you right?
Your followers sometimes have been a bearded, bathless bunch. There's even been a minister or 2, a priest, a nun, a rabbi, and an educated man have listened and been taken in by you. All the country's full of two-faced politicians who encourage you with words that go like this. Burn your draft card if you like, it's good to disagree. That's a get-acquainted communistic kiss. Now ain't I right?
Ain't you right? Ain't you right?
One politician said it would be nice to send some blood and help the enemy in Vietnam. That's what he says, here's what I say, let's just keep the blood. Instead, let's send that politician man. Let's rid the country of the politicians who coddle tramps that march out in our street, protesting those who want to fight for freedom, my friend. This kind of leader makes our country weak. Now ain't I right?
Ain't you right? Ain't you right?
Let's look and find the strong and able leaders. It's time we found just how our neighbors stand. If we're to win this war with communism, let's fight it here as well as Vietnam. Let's rise as one and meet our obligations, so communistic boots will never trod across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God. Across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Is Today the Day, a new stream series I'm doing. We're going to go ahead and change the podcast name to Is Today the Day. As for why, well, I thought about it. It's like every morning we wake up and we ask ourselves that question, and in the back of our heads or anything, is today the day? And that's a big question. Is today the day for what? Is today the day Jesus returns? Is today the day this whole ring that we've been talking about in every podcast finally falls? And is today the day that, I don't know, SHTF, right? So, is today the day? Welcome aboard, everybody. I got my buddy War Spirit, and I've got my computer geek, Evigilans 2. I'm real happy to be here tonight. How about you guys? You ready?
Loving it.
Okay, so War Spirit has got some paperwork together, and with the help of a computer guy, we can actually go as far as to get links to websites and talks about things. We're finally growing and getting things together. We were going to start yesterday, but something came up. Tonight, Lord willing, nothing else will. So, today I start in prayer, as I traditionally do, as we would be nowhere without our Father in heaven. Lord, I come to you this evening, and I bring every piece of material that War Spirit's brought for us. I bring it under your discretion, and that we know what to say and where to say it, and that you guide us. Lord, thank you very much for everything you've revealed to us. Thank you for everything you've given us in the software and just the will to do this, Lord. Please protect us as we talk about what we talk about, and protect our families, and let no evil touch us. Lord, thank you very much for everything. Protect our listeners, and bless the United States. Amen.
Amen.
So I was going to go ahead and jump right into a document which was given to me by War Spirit, Ghislaine Maxwell. This is apparently Epstein's girlfriend of a long time. They met in the 90s. Ghislaine Maxwell is also, what were you saying, part of Victoria's Secret, right? The CEO?
Well,
like
no. Ghislaine, she knows people in the Victoria's Secret part. She's not in there.
Okay.
She actually she was with some different financiers with some different banks that Epstein was working for early on in his life, and but she was the girlfriend of some pretty different prominent rich people. And so she breaks up with this one homeboy at this, and her and Epstein meet at this party, and they hit it off right away. So she was his longtime girlfriend. Like, they never, people like even asked, like, well, what is she? But some of the different like helpers and like butlers and stuff at these different places they even heard her call like the lady of the house, and so she was, and she was even given the power to hire and fire staff at all of Epstein's properties. So they were close. Then they were close for a very long time. And so when she started getting a little older, I guess he kind of started getting tired of her sexually, which yes and no, because they still did weird things together. But so she became the recruiter for some of these young girls, because she was rich, she was prominent, she has this very elegant British accent that one of the girls even said, like, she sounded like a lady of leisure, somebody who you could trust. And so he used Ghislaine to get these young girls to these different places with promises of helping them get their masseuse license, and then also the promise of getting them work for like Victoria's Secret model stuff. And where Victoria's Secret comes in, and there's actually Jeffrey Epstein has a friend there, and she was actually one of his first clients. Let's see.
Going through the paperwork right now.
Maria Farmer. And she was one of Epstein's first clients for, because he ran this deal, and he did until he died, of supposedly helping manage people's money and make them more money. That was his shtick, okay?
Right.
That's how he made his millions, was off of other people's millions.
You're right.
And she became friends with him so much, she actually even gave him power of attorney to be able to take care of all of her property, all of her bills and everything, even to like take out loans in her name, okay? So he made millions and millions and millions off of her. But they become friends, and so she always, and her last name's also, it became Wexler when she married. But she's the one that started helping Jeffrey get these girls over to meet Ghislaine. And Ghislaine would she'd go into the locker rooms of these girls and talk to them and say, hey, there's this really nice guy that you need to meet. His name's Jeffrey, and he can help you out. Is everybody okay over there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Really creepy stuff. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. So through other studies of his different properties, I don't know
Let's see.
It doesn't matter. I got the triangle in my head here. So Epstein has 3 prominent properties in the U.S. and also in the Virgin Islands, which is part of a U.S. province. The U.S. Virgin Islands was Little St. James. That's the island where the temple is, the striped temple that everybody has seen.
The big deal there.
Yeah. So that's there, and then there's a New York property that's very close to the Victoria's Secret, their main building, this building here that you can see in the photo.
Right, they're kind of like their flagship store.
Yeah, well, their flagship store, and then also in this store, they do a lot of model, runway stuff there.
Okay.
So lots and lots and lots of girls are coming in and out of this, trying to make it big. Mm-hmm. Lots of very young, pretty girls.
Okay, yeah.
And so they got that. They got this one.
Is this one mine?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And then we got, lo and behold, and this is where our kind of our area of operation is here in New Mexico.
Right.
There is the Zorro Ranch in Stanley, New Mexico.
Big deal.
Big deal. Now, out of these 3, after Jeffrey Epstein, 3 or 4 days after his death, the federal agents actually raided the New York property and the Virgin Island property. There's actually a guy actually has footage of FBI agents at the island that he took with one of those drone things.
Yes,
there was FBI agents inside his house there, and they got that.
Right, yeah.
So they raided these 2, but to this day, and I have done extensive studies there everywhere, it is not. The New Mexico property has not been touched.
Did you hear that? Because I think we've made the messed up. I thought that I had read that it had been raided. I thought but at the same token, that exact news article disappeared as quick as it went. Yep. So that could have been a false on their part.
I have looked and looked and looked and looked. The New Mexico property has not been raided. There's even as August, they were talking about it
checks out.
There was these, and they're libtards. I mean, but they were talking about it around this round table. They were part of some New Mexico against oil and gas BS that I found on YouTube. But they even mentioned it because this one lady, she's a big feminist, which I'm not into feminism, but I agree with her on this.
Well,
this is something we can actually agree on. She is saying this is crazy. Why hasn't this been done? Also the New Mexico BLM lady here in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. See, Jeffrey Epstein actually has 1,200 acres that's leased out close to that New Mexico property because it was a working ranch with Angus cross beef there.
Very nice.
And so he had 1,200 acres leased out to the BLM. So she has been looking into some of this because this property is very weird. There's some weird things going on with this property. There is it's a it's a 10,000 plus acre property that he owns plus the 1,200 lease. And in the center of this, right smack dab in the middle of it, there is like 10 acres of land that's owned by New Mexico. And it was bought by a Solar Station LLC corporation from New Mexico in 2006. But there's never were any solar panels put on it. Since 2006, it's been sitting there. Nothing. Except one lone, weird, at the bottom of the property, communication tower. Yeah, it's got like antennas and dishes and stuff on it. And it's not very big. It's like maybe 15, 20 feet tall is all it is. But it's just sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. And there's no roads to it. There's not even a 2-track trail to it.
Right.
It's weird.
Okay. Yeah.
The property itself is massive.
It's huge.
Like the square footage of all the structures combined.
57,000 square feet, including all the overhangs.
Exactly. That is gargantuan. That is huge.
Yeah. 57,000 square feet. And every angle that you can look at it, it was designed to where you cannot see into the inner workings of this house from any angle. There has been drones that have been flown over it. I've seen the footage of that. They cannot get a good look in there, no matter what.
Right.
It was designed that way.
Well, and looking at that and everything, the feds, as you said, they've raided all the other stuff.
They haven't raided this one.
What's so special here?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so obviously, just from common sense thinking, you can look at this, it's like, okay, well, maybe they're hiding something too.
Yeah.
They don't want whatever's in here to come out.
Right.
Because, if you really look at this, the whole FBI raiding St. James, that was just because the Hollywood and, the press is on St. James. Everyone knew about that.
And it goes back down to, okay, so, John, what is New Mexico known for?
Green chili.
Green chili.
Green chili. And maybe Breaking Bad.
Yeah, right.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Here's the thing, though. Nobody's talking about it. Because why? What is 90% of the time you hear people that, like, from New York and all these different places? Do you have to have a
green card
to come over here?
Right. It's Epstein isn't. That's not America. It's in Mexico.
No, it's Mexico. It's no, bro. No, bro. It's in Mexico.
No.
So the majority, especially of Easterners, they're dumbasses. They don't know about back in flyover country.
Right.
So that's the reason why he bought this place, because it's off the map.
Right.
Nobody cares about us.
Right, honestly, yeah, you don't see New Mexico every day.
No.
And even that one thing, we had a whole ass school shooting, was there for 2 days, it was gone.
It was,
it
made one little blurb on Fox News the next day on the radio.
Something that usually they span across a whole
very
month.
Short, and it was gone.
Something they usually span across a whole month is gone. And
that's the reason why Jeffrey Epstein has bought this place, because nobody gives a shit about New Mexico.
Right.
Pardon my language, folks. I'm sorry. But, so, there's also been staff that have overheard Epstein joking about this ranch, saying that it is his baby-making ranch.
Yeah.
And he has taken girls here. He has, the east side of this property, the long, elongated one right there with all the windows, that is where all the massage tables are.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where all the hinky, nasty, grody stuff is.
And we're getting into what Ghislaine did.
Correct.
Ghislaine Maxwell was the recruiter for the young women.
Correct.
That would service
Ghislaine,
Epstein and his friends.
Again, Epstein's girlfriend, she had a way about her. She made these young girls feel comfortable. She would go into the Victoria's Secret places and several other places. There's also I just found this out today through some other studies. He does have a property in France, too, and I can't find any information on it. I don't know if it's been raided. I don't even know where it's at. But there's one little blurb about him owning some property in France.
Okay.
So, more to come on that, folks. I don't have anything on that. So, I don't know if that's yay or nay, or it might just be a little bitty.
If you're listening and you can find out that stuff, feel free to comment it, and we'll get it next podcast.
Yes,
that's what I want. We aren't just, looking for ourselves here. If you have stuff you want us to talk about, go on YouTube there hit us in the comments, and we will see
Yes.
that, and we'll look at it.
Help us out, because, and I'm going to be getting to this because there's proof that you people out there and other people is starting to pull the cap off of this. And there was recently, and we'll get to that here in a second, a huge leak on a video about some of this stuff. But getting back to Ghislaine real quick. So again, she was the recruiter for all these girls, and she would actually even be their trainer. They were the poor girl, the little blonde girl. What is her name? I got it saved right here in my phone. Virginia Roberts Guffrey is one of the first long-term victims. I say long-term because she actually stayed with Jeffrey and Ghislaine for like a couple years, and she was even quoted. There was a video of her. I saw an interview saying that they were kind of like this, in her words, effed up family. She said, there was these weird things going on. She said, but at the time, she said it was in a way kind of fun. She said we would go together and we would go snorkeling and we would gather different pieces of like colored glass from the beach that would washed up, and we made a table with pouring like epoxy and stuff over it. And she said we were like this weird little family. We would watch movies and eat popcorn together. And so as a young girl, and she was very young. She was like 15 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She was enamored by Jeffrey. She was making a lot of money too.
Right.
She was making like $300-400 a day.
Yeah, that's pretty good money.
As a 15-year-old, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So, and with a promise from Ghislaine that she would help her get her masseuse license. That's the whole reason why she was doing all this.
Right.
And so, longer and longer as she stayed with them, it got weirder and weirder, and she had to do worse and worse things. Well, she ended up going to Thailand finally. They finally paid for her to go to Thailand to this. It's funny, it's Thailand. Don't want to talk about a weird place for a massage school. It's the weird, may love you long time kind of massage school.
Right.
But, they pay for her to go to this massage school in Thailand. Well, she meets this guy from Australia, which actually later on becomes her husband. And he's all. She actually told him about Jeffrey and all these different. And she confided in him. And he was a little bit older than her, but not like Jeffrey. And she said, "This is weird.
Yeah, like
this is not right.
What the hell?
This is not right." And it actually, she said, finally opened her eyes to like, well, maybe this isn't right, because she said she lived in this little bubble. She didn't realize how weird it had gotten until an outsider had heard about it. Well, she calls Jeffrey Epstein up that day and said she was not returning to the island, and he told her, "Have a nice life," and hung up on her.
Well, thank God that was it.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh my gosh, man.
So she escaped from it. I mean, there's horrible things. Oh, and by the way, folks, she had to do sexual acts on several very, very prominent people. One being our very own Bill Richardson of New Mexico. Yep. At the Zorro Ranch.
And there we are. See, this is right in our backyards, folks. This isn't just a distant television, a distant podcast. It's right here at home.
Yep. And then going back to the island again, one morning she wakes up and Ghislaine is there by her bed and says, "Guess what?" And she's all excited and said, "You get to meet a prince today." So she thought, oh, cool, meet a prince, So she goes and they go to this party off the island. They go off the island, go to this bigger island, and they meet, lo and behold, Prince Andrew.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So they do this whole shindig and party and thing. Well, the very next day, Prince Andrew shows up at the island, and Ghislaine pulls her aside and tells her, "I want you to do for the prince what you do for Jeffrey."
Oh, gross.
Yes. So she meets him in one of the many massage rooms and has sex with him. And she said it was weird because part of her thought, she said, that he was going to say, "No, this isn't right," Because she said, I grew up seeing, Disney. The prince was supposed to be the good guy.
Right.
But he didn't rescue me. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. So she said he was polite, and when he got done, at least he said thank you.
I shouldn't be laughing, but
it's so sick and sad. But yeah, this poor girl. She said to this day she got messed up. She actually ended up, when she got a little bit older too, and this is before she left, she was helping Ghislaine get new girls.
Yeah.
Because she would get a bonus if she got a girl to come back with her.
There you go.
The younger, the better. There was a bracket of money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the younger they were, the more money she got.
Right.
And at the time, she was this underage kid, so I don't blame her.
Right, no. That's just, brainwashing at its finest.
Exactly.
You get promised all this stuff. You get treated in your head good, and you get to meet all these people. But, let's look at this, right? This is Prince Andrew of the UK.
Yes.
Out
the
here.
royal family.
Chilling out here. Maybe not here yet, but...
There was never a record of him in New Mexico. That was in the Virgin Islands. Bill Richardson was in New Mexico.
Right.
But...
This guy has probably been here in the United States.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
As he has been. This is worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help but wonder, it's like, we're finding out about Prince Andrew. We're finding out where else,
Well, and then also another person, lo and behold.
Thailand. Sorry.
Guess who else that she said she saw? She actually didn't have sex with him, but she saw him and claimed that another girl was. Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hi, this is Bill Clinton here, and I want to let you know that I did have sexual relations with that woman.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I shouldn't be joking about this.
Yeah, no, but we've been looking at it, and we've been so freaking depressed looking at it.
I've had to make jokes about it just to keep my sanity, because I just got so depressed last week.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And, like you said, you broke down crying.
Yeah, I did. I just... The spirit hit me last week, folks, and just thinking about these girls, because I have daughters of my own, and I'm thinking, if somebody did something like this, I'd freaking kill them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'm
looking at this.
Care.
These guys are walking around now. Epstein, there's rumors he's still alive. I can't even begin to get into that. And I'm glad if he's dead. Good. But at the same time, I am kind of disappointed, as with everyone else, is because we're supposed to get information from him.
And this poor girl, like Virginia Roberts, she's disappointed too, because she said she feels like she had justice robbed from her.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. For him to somehow hang himself with toilet paper from a 4-foot bed.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. Oh, and so another update, folks. Okay, so the medical examiner has come out. He was actually a former medical examiner from the New York Correction Facility that Jeffrey was at. He looked at Jeffrey's autopsy and confirmed that there is no way that this was suicide, that it was in line with a homicidal choking. I guess there's some cartilage in where your lymph node glands are. I didn't even know that there was cartilage in your lymph nodes, but apparently, folks, there is. And I guess if it's pulled hard enough, if somebody's choked, that cartilage can break. So that cartilage was broken. There is no way, he said, that you could do that from doing suicidal strangling.
Yeah, no way.
There were bones in the trachea that were broken.
Yeah.
So somebody really got the romp on with his neck. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no way he could have done that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. So, I know it's a cliche and it's kind of funny, and that's what's funny and sad all at the same time. There's people doing the whole Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself memes that aren't even political.
Right. They have never shared a political right, left, or indifferent. Nothing.
Did you hear about the brewery company that actually printed it on the bottom of their cans?
Right,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself. This is big, and I like seeing this.
Yeah.
Because people are like, who is Jeffrey Epstein?
People's eyes are opening.
Yeah. And, this is revelation. We've talked about this. People are, this whole thing, and they will listen to this. Someone has got this on monitor here.
Oh, yeah.
Up there. And telling you now, it's going to come down, and you're going to fall.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think that a lot of stuff is going to fall with it. That's going to, you know, like economy could be messed up because it's in the deep federal government. It's deep in there.
And the deeper you go, John, the deeper the rabbit hole gets. Right. And I'm fixing to go somewhere, folks, that makes me sound like a crazy person. I promise you, I'm not a crazy person. I have tried to refute this. I have tried to go, well, maybe, you know, I have tried every which way, and just Clint Eastwood
comes back.
Every which way but loose here. Every which way to try to not go this route. But you got, okay, so the temple on the island, you got New York, and you got there. This makes a triangle of some of the weirdest crap I have ever seen. I got to looking into this temple, and there's some weird statues on it, and that's what got me kind of curious. I'm like, what is this dude about? So I start reading on it, and of course, what's the guy that turned the frogs freaking gay?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Okay,
Yeah.
Alex Jones, God love him. Okay, so I used to think Alex Jones was a complete nut job. Okay, and in some ways, I kind of still do.
Yeah.
But he was dead on about this. He broke this before anybody else did. And I know I'm kind of leading you guys on here. But have you guys, and John, have you heard of the Mesopotamian/Canaanite god, little g, called Baal?
Yes,
or
I
Baal.
have. Yeah, Baal. That's B-A-A-L.
B-A,
Yeah.
and then one of the little A-L.
Whatever the
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
That's the actual.
But you can Google this
term.
demon,
Yes.
B-A-A-L,
Yeah.
and it will come up.
So Baal, and he's known under several different names. Baal being the most prominent one, and also B-E-L, Bel, which is the feminine version in the Hebrew, which is weird that he goes by both. And also Molech. They're kind of one in the three in the same kind of deal here. The Israelite people and actually Christianity people actually throughout time have had problems with this demon, quote unquote, little
all the way far back as Babylon.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so this god, the big thing for him is infant sacrifice and deviant sexual deeds in front of the altar. That's how you worship Baal.
Right.
Okay? And they believe throughout time that if you do these things, Baal would give you a good crop and give you power and money and wealth and all this different stuff. Well, that's exactly, folks, what liberals
Every
are
conspiracy points to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going like, you're talking about like the secret society stuff, which is where people are like, you're nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, but like anyone has that like deep thing that there's something more here, that there's, be it the Illuminati, be it the Masons, be it someone, there's something out here that controls everything.
Correct.
Like when it comes to that. Now, controlling everything is God. However, this whole, like, you know, our nation, our politics, our economy, there's someone behind the curtain, and anyone with sense knows that. But if you talk about it, and I mean everybody kind of gets this idea, left, right, indifferent, whatever. If you talk about it, you start to sound crazy because it is kind of invisible.
Yep.
It's like the wind. You can't see it, but the leaves are moving. You know, and that's how I describe that.
So I got intrigued on this. So I started because unlike you, I've heard of Baal, but I didn't really know. So I started getting on this research kick on Baal. Well, one of the first things that pop up was back in 2011. Of course, you guys, I'm sure, knew back when ISIS had invaded Syria, and they were going around and they were destroying all these different statues that did not agree with Islam. So it didn't matter if it was Jewish, Christian, pagan, whatever. They were getting rid of it. Well, one of the only things that ISIS did good was they actually went in, there's a place in Syria where there's this temple of Baal that the Romans actually erected.
Right.
And they tore it down. And there was this arch that was in front of the temple of Baal. They tore all that down, including this lion-looking thing, which was one of the statues on the temple of Epstein.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the lion.
They tore the lion down. Why is that relevant? Tell you why. So a few years later, after they had kicked ISIS back out of that area, some archaeologists come in, and I don't blame the archaeologists. They were just thinking, oh, we need to preserve this because it's history and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to rebuild some of this stuff. Well, they looked at it and they're like, well, some of this is really unbuildable. So what we'll do is we'll make a replica. At first they wanted to make the whole temple. And they're like, well, no, we can't do the whole temple. But we'll do the arch. And to prove to ISIS and everybody that we, can't be brought down by all this, we are going to take this arch and we're going to make it to where we can put it together, take it apart, put it together, and we're going to parade it around to these different places, these different prominent places.
Right.
They went to Britain, New York, Dubai, and then back to New York. It's where its permanent residence is now.
Right.
So it went that order, and then back to New York. Well, at first, when they first did this, they was going to do New York first. And some of the Christian community was like, no, we're not going to have the Baal arch in here. That's evil. We're not going to have that. So what they did is they got sneaky. They said, well, they changed its name to the town that's there, the Arch of Palmyra. And they took it to Britain. And it just so happened when they opened this Arch of Palmyra was at this big leadership summit. And the day that they opened it was the day of Bel, B-E-L. Now, the day of Bel was when the pagans would take infants and take it to the temple of Baal and burn them alive.
Mm-hmm.
As offerings, as sacrifices, human sacrifices. They opened it that day. They did their little show for it on the day of Bel.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost perfect, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then they waited till next year, and they went over to so that was Britain, and then they came back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the place where they did it was one of those G20 summit deals. And they did it right close to the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it again on the day of Bel. And they just keep doing this. And they went to Dubai, did the same thing. The Dubai one was when Obama came to that thing where there was like 100. Remember when like 130 different people, and it was this big thing that Obama went to Dubai?
Right.
That was when that happened. Obama was frickin' there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So they did this thing in Dubai, and then it came back and made its permanent residence, and you can see it to this day in New York City, right close to the Wall Street Bull and the United Nations. The bull is another idol that coincides with Baal.
Right.
That is Moloch.
Right. So, like, obviously, I mean, I'm happy you've done your research on this. It was a very good string. So, it's obvious what I've kind of been alluding to, because I've known about this whole Baal thing. But as for the facts and everything, is where it's all going, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, this whole statue is just one of many, many, many drips of blood in an ocean. And we're looking at there's weird statues as far as back in before the Twin Towers went down in the lobbies of that sort of thing, and just how big this all gets. Like what is this big image? And it's all Baal. Like it's been here since Babylon. You know, there's theories going on about like Romans being, you know, the still kind of controlling things. Is like the ancient Romans, and like you remember what that temple was built by the Romans, Baal.
Yep.
And there's a spiritual battleground, and I you know, like I'm saying, like this is a big deal, and prophecy is stating that this is all going to come in the light here soon.
Correct.
You know, and I think a lot of people are going to be dismayed at this. I think a lot of people, Christians, all that, are going to want to just continue living their normal lives. It's like having a ghost in your house and you just try to ignore it. It screams and wakes you up in the night sometimes. It's really quite the nuisance, but it's there. You know, and you're just kind of ignoring it. Whereas some people are like, yo, there's a ghost in your house. And that's where we're coming in here. And it's like, we gotta expel this evil, right?
Right.
You know, Baal, the whole Epstein trilogy. We've been talking about this since it came out. Like, we couldn't have had a better time to start our podcasts.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what really kind of inspired me in the first place was, wow, you know, finally the mainstream are getting it. Like, this isn't just conspiracy crap anymore.
No.
Here it is.
Yeah.
You know, this is on public news networks, not just little websites on the internet with 1,000 pop-ups and tabloids. It's on Fox News, CNN, everything, and it's...
and that's a good, actually, segue, John, to the next thing. You mentioned Fox News and everything. So, just as of last week, folks, actually the first of this week, a story broke about a video that was leaked.
All right.
In this video... it was from ABC, and the Good Morning America host, what is her name? Let me look it up real quick here.
Right. Let's look at that. Good Morning America host. Is that Robin Roberts? No. Darn it. I don't know why that came up. Oh, that's presented by. Okay. Laura?
Amy Robach.
Amy Robach.
So Amy Robach, she actually had the story, the scoop, as they say back in the old days for reporters, on Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago. Hold on, folks. Listen. 3 years ago, John.
365.
Yes.
Times 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she had this story about all these different abuses. She had these girls. She had talked to Virginia Roberts. She encouraged her to come out of hiding. Virginia Roberts was scared to death of Epstein. She gave her the gusto to come out, to do an interview with her. She put together this. She did her due diligence. She did a lot of work on this. This was all freelance too, away from ABC. She was doing her regular job while she was doing this.
All right.
Because she felt like this was going to be huge, which it is. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge now. Yeah.
So she got all this together, and lo and behold, Buckingham Palace calls ABC and says, "Hey."
Did you hear that? Buckingham Palace calls ABC in the midst of this.
Yes. Buckingham Palace calls ABC and says, "Hey, knife this." And they was talking about all this different stuff, and so it got canceled. So the next day, she's actually talking to her fellow employees about it before the morning show starts. Well, the cameras were live. And so she was talking and saying, hey, she was frustrated. I had all this on Jeffrey Epstein. I can't believe that they let this go. I got knifed by I don't know who, she said at the time. And she was just frustrated. You could see it in her face that she was just pissed.
Right.
Well, the very next day, or just a few days ago, somebody got a hold of this video and leaked it.
There we go.
One of the staff, and I guarantee you, okay, so the staff over at ABC, and I'm sure that Amy Robach, I doubt there's very many things that me and Amy would agree on.
Oh, yeah.
I highly doubt it. I bet you she would love to take my guns away from me. But Amy, if you're listening, if you hear this, this is something we can agree on, okay? And we need to find these things, guys. It doesn't matter left. It doesn't matter right. We are fighting something that is so much bigger than that. It doesn't matter capitalism, communism, all that. We are fighting something
talking about that.
So much larger than this. A spiritual battle that is going on right now.
Right. It like I said, just doing this podcast, it was like 3 episodes in. My whole world was thrown up in the air. Because I was like, I was a political philosopher, like I said, starting at the age of 12. I was studying all the economic routes, politics, and I got into it. Now, it's all like vanity. Ecclesiastes 1, read it up. Vanity, vanity. It's all nothing. And, the only thing that matters is the spirit, the spiritual realms. The only thing that matters is what comes after.
Yep.
And getting rid of evil as we can.
Yep.
Because evil causes evil. Evil distributes evil.
Yep.
So right here, right now, like you're saying, if she's listening,
yep,
we're on your side here.
Yep.
If you're on the side against evil, and this is real evil. A lot of this stuff, with the communists, capitalists, we could argue. Well, we don't know if that's that's a gray area, but this is concrete, flat out, agreed evil.
Yep. Everything else turns out.
This is Adolf Hitler right here.
Yeah.
Everyone's teaming up on this guy.
Worse than Adolf Hitler.
Absolutely.
Because again, this is, and I know Adolf Hitler, the murder of the Jews, but I'm talking about the spiritual side of it.
Right.
Because it doesn't even deal with Epstein. Epstein was a pawn in this, okay?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the spiritual evil forces in the heavenly realms.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And so Amy, she gets knifed. The story gets knifed. She's like, what the heck? Why? Well, turns out the CEO of ABC, and let me look his name up real quick. ABC. Channing Dugri. He is a Brit, and he's over here in Manhattan.
Okay.
He is the one that got the call. I guess him and the royal family kind of know each other.
No, of course. Right?
Yes. So this video got leaked to a watchdog group called Project Veritas. And so the guy that heads up Project Veritas, he was in Manhattan that day. He knows where this guy goes and drinks coffee.
Right.
So he waits for him to go get his little soy boy latte, cream sugar bull crap. Walks out, starts walking along, and sir, and he asks him about it first. And he's like, I haven't heard that. Well, I have the video for you right here, sir.
Right.
Plays it for him. Homeboy's mouth kind of almost drops, but he catches himself. He's like, and he's all, do you have any comment on this, sir? And he's no comment on that, not right now. And so he said it like several times. He's walking down the street. This guy, you could tell he's just ticked off. And so the guy finally just walks off. He doesn't pester him too much because he didn't obviously want to get arrested. And so the very next day, poor Amy Robot issued a statement saying, "Oh, that was that story actually wasn't vetted fully, and I'm sorry for anything that I made." She was threatened. You could tell she was threatened. Okay?
Yeah.
So she gave this BS thing saying that whatever.
The Clintons and all them probably threatened to kill her house cats.
And they were laughing about that even on the radio. Glenn Beck was talking about it. It's like it was the most milquetoast apology or comment that you could have.
Right.
You could tell her she was not into it. And you could see her face on this video. She was legit serious.
Right. She's all blinking Morse code SOS or something.
Yeah. So that's just the thing. And you mentioned the Clintons.
Right.
The Clintons are in a big deal in this too because Bill Clinton, and we mentioned this on previous podcasts, he was at Little St. James Island at least, they said, confirmed 22 times. At least.
Yeah.
And he rode the Lolita Express there that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that name. Oh, it's disgusting. Sorry.
Yeah, one of the girls even mentioned, one of Epstein's girls, as they called them, that they all were told that they had to act like his little Lolita.
Ugh. Sick people.
Yes. So it keeps going deeper and deeper. The more, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. We're gonna have so much more on it. This is we dug into the iceberg a bit today so far. Yeah.
We're reaching this level because you're like, people are gonna call me crazy. I'm like, well, man, at least we're gonna say it because when history comes out, you can't say we didn't tell you so. At that rate.
And that's just it. And folks, I thought about this earlier this week, and I almost was gonna tone it down some and not mention the whole Baal thing, but the more I kept looking into it, the more it is. And I haven't actually connected that all the way yet. So the temple, it has been, and of course they don't have concrete proof on this. Let me make that clear. But still, the temple is where modern day Baal worship is happening. They have claimed that there have been babies from these women that Epstein has gotten pregnant sacrificed in that temple.
Yeah. And it's like not even big shock anymore.
No.
At this rate.
And, again, going back to people like that we thought was crazy, and another guy that, he has dealt with his demons and different things, but Mel Gibson actually was interviewed a year ago, and he came out and talking about the evils of the things going on in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And he mentioned in this interview that infant flesh and blood was, they loved it. They drink infant flesh and eat their eat the flesh and drink the blood, and it's actually considered a form of currency in Hollywood.
Right.
And when I first saw it, I remember seeing it I think it was a couple years ago. Actually, I was like, Mel Gibson, he's crazy.
Yeah. No, but I think I may have mentioned that before though. It's like that adrenochrome or whatever they call that stuff. We're getting to that level of nuts.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about specifically adrenochrome. If you know what that is.
No.
So it's supposedly it's tormenting children and drinking the tormented child's blood.
Well, that's what he mentions.
Right. Yeah.
He said in the more scared that they are,
the more powerful.
The more powerful. Yeah. He mentions this.
Yeah.
The more pain and suffering that they were in before they die, the more powerful that blood is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It blows my mind. It's just
and it's
sick.
People are like, well, medically speaking, that would have no possible effect, right? It's but not spiritually speaking.
Yeah.
Because you do something that awful, maybe you might get a high in your brain.
Well, here's the thing people don't realize is that is inviting these evil spirits over into them. So, I'm sure that there's demonic possession going on and all this different kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's these different Hollywood singers in different states have even, what's her name? Beyonce has even admitted that whenever she's on stage sometimes that a demonic presence enters her. I forgot what she called it. And takes over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these people, Beyonce, Jay-Z, all these different people,
You've lost one of your own. Kanye West is coming for you.
That's right! Yeah, heck yeah, Kanye. But, it'd be interesting to hear Kanye's.
Right, because he's got, he's been there.
You got to know that he's heard some about this.
Oh, yeah.
If any of this is legitimately true.
Come on, Kanye, give us some news, man. If
you
are genuinely saved, give it up, man.
Yep.
And maybe you've got an anointing for a time and place for it. But I'm telling you, man, if you can hear this, give us some words here.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Kanye
Once
West.
we get a freaking email
Kanye West, if you're listening to this, shout out, get in touch with us. I know we're this little bitty group, okay?
Yeah.
But we can get in touch with others. We can get in touch with bigger. We can get them with Bill O'Reilly, different stuff. We can break this.
Like, and I mean, this will probably be longer down the line if we go somewhere. Like we're doing what all these other politicist groups want to do, and I mean, it's all about just. Like I said, it's about teaming up against evil. Like, if you're a liberal or a communist and you can agree with me on this, that this crap needs to stop, give us content to review and talk about on this. Like, even if you got to inject your anti-capitalist crap into it, like, give it to us because we're on the same team when it comes to this.
Yeah, right.
Because all that other worldly dilemma is fallen. I don't care about it. Right now, it's pushed to the side. I'll get to it when this is dealt with. And I mean, when that is dealt with, it's hard saying. I doubt that I would even have to worry about that other stuff.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And right now, we have bigger fish to fry than each other. Right. We need to be on the same page on this, people.
And that's a big thing for me, because let me tell you, I've never liked communists. I don't think I ever will. But fighting side by side with a friend? Okay, I can do that.
Well, it goes down. I mean, the same thing happened in World War II with Hitler, okay? Yeah. We fought alongside the Russians because we realized Hitler was the worst dude, okay?
Right, yeah.
Communism sucks, but...
Right now, we need to do that. Now, given, I could argue that Stalin was worse than Hitler in most respects. His civilian death count was like 200 million. But in the sake
we were looking at it for as far as U.S. relations right then, because at the time, and it never happened. I mean, the Cold War happened, but so Hitler was in cahoots and buddies with Japan, and Japan attacked us.
Oh yeah.
To this day, other than some small scrimmages and stuff, we've never been at war with Russia.
Right.
We've had the Cold War. We've never had a flat-out engagement.
Okay. All right, how about we call for a 2-minute break so we can go over our paperwork again, and we can go ahead and get started in our next few topics here. That was pretty smooth so far. Let's go ahead and call that break now.
All right, see you guys in a minute.
Got a doll baby, I love her so. Nothing else like her anywhere you go. A man, she's anything but calm. A regular pint-sized atom bomb. Atom bomb, baby, little atom bomb. I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be. A million times hotter than TNT. Atom bomb baby, loaded with power, radioactive as a TV tower, a nuclear fission in her soul, loves with the electronic control. Atom bomb baby, little atom bomb, I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be, a million times hotter than TNT. Atom bomb baby, boy she can start one of those chain reactions in my heart. A big explosion, big and loud, mushrooms me right up on a cloud. Atom bomb baby, little atom bomb, I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be, a million times hotter than TNT. Atom bomb baby, sweet as a plum, carries more warmth than uranium. When she kisses, there's no hitch, 0 power, she turns on the switch. Atom bomb baby, little atom bomb, I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be, a million times hotter than TNT. Atom bomb baby, little atom bomb, I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be, a million times hotter than TNT. Baby, little atom bomb. everything he's forgetting in the great plan he does make. That God gave to him everything and everything can take. There's a power greater than atomic. It's the power of the one that sits on high. If he strikes us with his mighty power, not just some, but everyone must die. Upon this sinful land, every rock within the mountains will melt at his command. So when you're planning power that will sweep away the sod, don't forget there is no power to equal that of God. There's a power greater than atomic. It's the power of the one that sits on high. If he strikes us with his mighty power, not just some, but everyone must die. To the island of Bikini, great men came and plans were laid to prove to all the people what power he had made. But after it was over, even through the blinding steam, the sea and sky unchanged to prove that God is still supreme. There's a power greater than atomic. It's the power of the one that sits on high. If he strikes us with his mighty power, not just some, but everyone must die.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. So going into, we kind of took a look over our paperwork. We got all refreshed. What have we all, where do we want to really go from here on this?
Well, one of the last things I want to touch on the Zorro Ranch is the surrounding properties around it are also very, very interesting. So the King family is who owns all the properties for miles and miles and miles around Epstein's property. And I want to say, and my phone's here, it's either Gary King or
Bill King. Is that it?
Bill King is the original owner. That's like the grandfather. I didn't want to say it was
Right.
Gary. He was actually one of our former New Mexico governors.
Okay.
The King family have been friends with Epstein for a very, very long time. So not only Bruce King. Okay, so Bruce King, he was also at the ranch many, many times, and he owned all these properties. Now they've all been divided up with his three sons. Mm-hmm. Bill King being one of the sons. And Bill King, he's one of the most interesting of the three sons. You don't hear much about the other sons. But Bill King still is, or was, very close friends with Epstein. And Bill King's wife, let's see, she was into ballistic missile research over at, where we do the bomb here in New Mexico.
Right, White Sands?
No. Where we tested the bomb.
Area 51?
No. We're Albert Einstein.
We tested that bomb everywhere.
Los Alamos.
Okay.
Los Alamos National Labs. She works to this day at Los Alamos National Labs on ballistic missiles.
Okay.
And the reason I bring that up, it's really weird. And so this one is merely speculation, folks. I could be way off base on this. But there is one part of the property off in the middle of nowhere that looks like a round steel lid, and it's close to that New Mexico property with the where the solar panels are supposed to be.
Right.
And it looks like it opens, like a hinge opens. Could this be a underground military base underneath
Right, and
the
could
Zorro
that
Ranch?
be why the federal government has not raided this? Because they already know what's going on.
Correct. And could Bill King's wife be part of that facility?
Well, undoubtedly.
Is that the reason why the King family has that ranch all the way around? Very well could be. The federal government, right, wrong, or different, they might not have known Epstein's side of it, but that might be the reason why it didn't get searched, because they do not want this underground base to be outed. Because I guarantee you, FBI agents come in and start snooping around, they're going to see some weird stuff. Well, they're going to be thinking, well, this is Epstein's weirdo stuff. So they're going to look into this. And so there very well could be even staff still down there that is going to get outed. Could there be UFO technology in this?
Who even knows? Like I said, how deep does this go?
Yeah, that's just it. We don't know. The very last thing that I want to touch on there is, so to the northeast of the Epstein Ranch, and I believe his name is John Ford. He's very prominent in Hollywood. He's a weirdo dude too. He's way into like sexual deviant crap with Victoria's Secret and stuff. It all falls back in with that. Him and Epstein were also buddies, and he owns a property that has basically 20,000 plus acres, and a whole miniature western town is on that property. The same property that the movie Silverado was shot at. And he's got some weird stuff on that property as well, and there has been many girls, Epstein girls, that have visited his house.
Right.
Let's call them gifts from Epstein. So that whole community there, I would love to pick somebody's brain in Stanley, New Mexico. If anybody is listening from Stanley, New Mexico, I know that's kind of, you guys are not very big, so if you but if you do hear, get in touch with us. I would love to talk with you. I would love to get your thought process on this. Maybe because there actually has been reports of, it's kind of weird too that nobody ever said anything, but of these girls going into town sometimes and being seen with Epstein. One of the maintenance guys that was there in Stanley, New Mexico thought, well, I just thought it was his daughters. That's what I thought.
Right.
These girls were just hanging around. I thought it was their dad.
Right.
But if you're from Stanley, New Mexico, or right there close, please get in touch with us. We can make it happen. We can talk to you via on the phone or something. That would be awesome.
Right. You know, we have got ways to communicate here. You know, feed us your stuff. We're blowing the whistles here. So, getting into another thing here, we're talking about Maxwell. Where is Maxwell?
Nobody knows where Maxwell is. In fact, the federal government actually went looking for her where they thought she was. She not there. Nobody knows where Ghislaine Maxwell is. Now, you know, your first thought is, well, did Hillary Clinton whack her off? Maybe. I think she's in hiding.
I think so.
Because she is, I'm sure, scared to death. She is going to be indicted on some of these things because she's just as guilty as Epstein is.
Yep. Going as far to even take part in some of the perverse acts.
Correct.
Which, you know, I was actually talking about that when you brought me this news about this female. I was like, a woman?
Yeah.
I was like, wait. It's so abstract and bizarre to me that a female could be capable of such horrendous actions. Such disgusting, mind-blowingly gross things. Like, stuff that I don't even want to say with my own tongue. And it's a woman. Now, stuff with men have done that. I'm not a feminist or anything, but a woman? Women don't do that. And I'm just wondering, like, what the heck?
It all goes back, John, to the promise of power.
Yep.
Ghislaine is the type of person just through her you read her bio, she's after money and power.
Mm-hmm.
And getting these girls into this temple and doing the weird things they did,
mm-hmm.
right? You know, if it did or it didn't, but in her mind was giving her power.
Power over the girls, power over, well, apparently over a large amount of
and she was very good at manipulating these girls. She was very talented in being manipulative.
Right.
She'd say, well, you don't have to do this to
So
for
Maxwell
Jeffrey,
is in
but,
hiding. My question is, how come I've never heard Ghislaine's name yet? Right? Until, like, you told me.
Yep.
Like, and I've been pretty much on this case, too, you know? How come I never knew that Epstein had a girlfriend that did his recruiting for him? You know, like, where's the talk about this?
Well, we broke this story after Epstein's death, and that was January, right?
Yeah, it was
okay. So most of all this stuff about Ghislaine and every stuff, they didn't start talking to her this year until June, July, and August.
Right.
These, like, the last 3 months before this, I mean, it just recently Ghislaine has come on the radar.
Right.
Yeah. Before that, nobody knew about her.
Okay. Well, here we are, you know, and it keeps growing. And like I said, this is all going to fall, right, you know, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And the shockwaves of this are going to be worldwide. Like,
right.
There's going to be compounds in places we would have never imagined. Hell, there's probably going to be a compound here in Farmington, for all we know.
Could be.
You know,
maybe that's, again, where all the girls that are disappearing off the res are going.
Exactly.
I don't know.
You know, and that's what I mean. You know, watch yourself, and that's why I prayed, like, because it is kind of scary what we're talking about. We're finally getting into something that's like, I'm actually kind of scared talking about it. I'm not a coward, but I have a reason to be a little worried. You know, it's like we could get home tonight, and last thing we hear is like a door breach,
or even scarier, and this just happened with Clintons. Your brakes don't work going to work, or a bomb is in there.
Right.
Get in, go start the truck in the morning, and boom!
All my crap just gone to hell. Yeah. So, and I mean, or you know, my cartilage is broken, and for some reason I'm hanging by my ceiling fan with toilet paper.
So just remember, folks, Hillary Clinton wants to tell you, Epstein did commit suicide. And if you don't agree with me, I'll make sure you commit suicide too.
Right. That's what they say. So, disclaimer, and you heard it here first, if any of us turn up dead in the next few days for a weird reason, could probably point fingers.
You can point to this podcast right here.
You can point to this podcast right here.
Yeah.
You know, and I just remember the minute mark and be like, this is where he said it.
Yep.
And you know who killed me. Well, maybe not exactly who, but you know the group of people responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Same, you know. So.
Did you know that there was a comedian, one of the liberal comedians that.
Oh yeah. He was talking
black guy,
to Hillary.
Yeah, he was talking to Hillary and actually mentioned all this and saying, you know, you killed Jeffrey Epstein, ha ha ha, and he was doing it like as a joke, like that she would laugh. And she got this very uncomfortable look on her face. And went, ha, 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 ha,
right.
ha, ha.
I am real human. I am normal. Yes.
Yeah. It's like was the most fake laugh I have ever seen. Like an uncomfortable, like, quit talking about that. You're outing me.
Shut up.
You're going to commit suicide next, boy.
It was like the biggest, like, exactly. You can look up that video. It's like on live TV or whatever.
Yeah.
She's all on the screen. Oh, so how did you kill Jeffrey Epstein? And she, like, her eyes open up. And it's just like in her head, she's probably like, shut up.
Yeah. We don't talk about Epstein.
Which, I mean, at the same token, like, I'm kind of angry at the comedian because he's trying to make her look like she's just, like, a normal person.
Right. Well, he was trying to make it sound absurd, you know.
Right.
You know.
Which I'm like, no, the entire country disagrees with you. This is, he didn't kill himself.
The left does this time and time again. Whatever they are guilty of, and this goes back again to the actual insiders, the swamp, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. Whatever they're doing they always either joke about openly to make it sound stupid, or they claim the opposition is doing it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've run into.
So, and they've claimed so Trump knew Epstein.
Right. He even banned him from his hotels.
But he banned him.
Yeah.
See, but the left is trying. They're already trying to
Exactly.
well, he was buddies with Trump too. Well, okay, so and again back to and that's what she was working at the hotel. The little blonde girl.
Yeah.
She was actually working at the Mar-a-Lago club that Epstein got kicked out of, that Trump owns.
Right.
That's where Gusheen first met her.
Oh, okay. Right. And I mean, that connection is like absurd, whereas the connection to Clinton is like right there. And you know, it's like, that's what I mean. I've had arguments. I've had someone post in a group like, you know, it's the capitalist Republicans are responsible for Epstein's actions. And I'm just like, oh, what? I'm pretty sure Epstein, if he voted, if he took the time to, I kind of doubt he did.
Well, again, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money.
Right.
He gave $60,000 to Bill Richardson the first time for him to get elected.
A Democrat.
And then his re-election, again the second time, he gave like $125,000.
And he was still a Democrat.
Yes, yes. 90% of all of his buddies. In fact, I don't even know, other than, of course, Trump used to be a Democrat. But all of his buddies on that blacklist are all Democrats.
Right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, folks. If you do know for sure somebody that's on that black list that's come out that's
that
a Republican,
give it us to us.
Post it, because I want to out them too. I don't care if you got a D by your name, an R by your name. If you're a piece of trash, you're a piece of trash.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not like, you know, and I was saying, if it comes out that Trump has been to Zorro Ranch, St. James Island, has been to these places and done these things with young women, then screw the guy. You know what I mean? Like, pin it to the man. You know, like, but until then, like that, and that's what I told the guy who I got into a very heated argument with. I told him, I said, well, we got to work with what we know, and what we know is that the elite left is what's responsible and what's protecting these people.
Right.
That's what's allowing the escape of this ridiculous stuff, as well as if you look at what the left push when we're talking about bail, it points right to it.
Right.
You look, I mean, you said child sacrifice and child murdering and child torment. Well, what does the left promote with religious intent, like Planned Parenthood? They're like, well, Planned Parenthood isn't all that, abortion isn't all that Planned Parenthood does, right? I'm like, okay, well, let's just get rid of that and keep the rest of it. No, we can't do that. Wait. What was your argument again? We need to keep it open because that's not all it does, but if we stop that one thing, that's a little too far.
Yep. We got a new facility now in Farmington.
Yes, and I was actually I want to get a flag with the mayor of Farmington's name is a coward and the mayor of Aztec is a traitor. You know what I mean? Because I want to fly that in my truck and just to see people's reactions. I want to talk to the mayor of both these towns. I don't know what the mayor in Bloomfield, if he does anything. Nothing happens in Bloomfield. No. Nothing happens over there. Maybe there's a compound over there for all I know because of how much nothing.
I know he's a Mormon.
Oh, he's probably okay. He probably just drinks Pepsi.
Yeah, I was gonna say he probably just drinks Coca-Cola.
I thought it was Pepsi.
No. They're Coca-Cola men.
The Mormons are Coca-Cola.
Yes, they own stock in Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Before that, you couldn't have Coca-Cola if you was a Mormon. But then, when the Mormon church, the bigwigs bought stock in it, I had a vision. We can have Coke now.
I had a vision in the great mighty Coke Joseph Smith's
That's
drink.
right. Thank you, Joseph Smith, for the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, freaking. And then we just lost all our Mormon fans. And I'm going to get a message. He's going to be like, "Did you freaking Joseph Smith found the golden tablet, you freaking..."
Hey, if you're a Mormon and you're listening to the show, I would love to have you on.
Right.
I make jest at everybody, but if you want to come on and you want to I will debate you. not argue, but I'll listen to your story, your side of the story. But I'd love to have you on.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like same with, I guess. Well, in due time, I think a communist would be a little much.
I wouldn't invite anybody on.
I mean, I would invite anyone on, but it's like I don't want there to be like a hostility until we got like a ground.
Oh, come on! Are you saying you couldn't keep it fresh, John? Come on.
I mean, all right, fine.
All right.
With your discretion.
I promise. War Spirit talking right here. I will keep a leash on our friend John, okay? If you're a communist, you're out there and you want to come on and talk with us, come on. I will be the mediator between us. I will keep everybody calm. Come on in.
Talk to our buddy Austin.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, Austin. Come on, buddy. Come at me, brah.
All right. Anyways, no, what a mess. It seems like we're kind of getting into more of a free base here.
We are.
Kind of went over a lot.
We're kind of winding down. I think.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
We're at, it's about 10:17 Mountain Standard.
You've been sitting over there, War Spirit number 2, kind of quiet. But you got anything to say tonight? You good?
You guys took the floor.
You guys took the floor.
I just work here.
How about you take the roof?
Well,
he raises the roof because he is one bad mother.
I built the roof.
I built the roof. Yeah.
Guys, he's done a phenomenal job tonight, guys.
Right.
I don't know if you just sitting here listening, but he's put together this whole thing for us, the picture that you're seeing and all the music. So this guy's done a really good job. So mention a like if you're, or a comment for this guy because he's done a great job.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's, all things needed. I'm happy to have 3 people because as funny as it is, it takes 3 people to run a 2-man show.
Yeah.
And it takes, 4 people to run a 3-man show, and so on and so forth. And most of the time, I'd be doing this with just me and War Spirit, but
we need you.
We need you. So, I mean, if you want to come out here, like if it takes being paid and stuff, we could offer it to you, whatever. But that's why I'm trying to get this show to really take off because wouldn't that be nice, man?
You guys, if you're listening, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Click the little bell so that way you can know when another one comes on.
Yep. Well, you'll get an email. You'll get a notification. We will be here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. But that was a pretty good podcast so far. We're winding down. We could go ahead and I guess if you want to wrap it up, let's go ahead and do that. So, thank you, Lord, for bringing us together tonight and giving us this material. And Lord, please protect us and bring vengeance for the victims of this wicked triangle, Lord. Bring down your fury and your wrath in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for everything you do. Amen.
Amen.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and do an outro song for you guys. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping up down at the bunker here and have a good rest of your weekend. Make sure to go to church, you bunch of heathens, and we'll be seeing you.